Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 18th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see British Columbia, Washington, Oregon still have this low pressure system across Canada. It's actually going to kick off a few more showers today. We'll take a look at that in the short-term forecast. Then we got an interesting system that's going to be rolling in here as we go through the day. Saturday, pretty warm day on Saturday for some areas, but then we're going to have a strong marine push, and I'll show you that detail here in a moment. If we look at the drought monitor, I wanted to show you this here. This is back on December 27th, 2022, and you can kind of remember there across some of the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon, we had some exceptional drought and a lot of extreme and severe drought across Oregon, and I'm going to show you what happens here as we scroll through to where we are currently. You can see some pretty drastic improvements, especially across the southwest USA. Some introduction of some more severe and extreme drought across portions of Idaho border, Montana there. And then you can kind of see how things switched up here. We're doing better across the lowlands of western Washington, but we have introduced some of that moderate drought across some of the Cascades here. And we're doing better across a lot of the farmland of eastern Washington and much better across Oregon. If I scroll back and forth there, you can see the big drastic improvement in drought conditions across much of Oregon. So always interesting to look at the U.S. Drought Monitor here. This was updated a couple days ago. And just a reminder, spring spotter training here, live virtual classes. Take a look here. This is Spokane National Weather Service, so go ahead and check that out if you want. There's one on Monday, April 22nd, and Tuesday, April 30th here. Now, looking at Spokane, talking about some offshore winds coming up here in advance of this next system. So we're going to have some offshore winds going on here. And you can see they might even be kind of gusty at times. Look at Wilbur, 35 miles per hour. So heads up for that. Might get some blowing dust out there. Kind of this different direction winds can kind of stir up some of that dust that's been stored along some of the berms and the farm fields out there and the backsides of the highways. And watch out for the grass fires as well. And if we take a look at those winds here, this is a North American model hot off the presses. You can see we're already offshore across the Cascades of Oregon here, out over the ocean. And then as we go on in through tomorrow, you're going to notice these really pick up as we go through, actually through tonight, I should say. And then it can remain increased as we go through tomorrow morning. And you can see the offshore flow all the way on in through Friday coming up here. And then the next system will be arriving. Look at some of the cross flow here across the Cascades. Picking up here pretty good. Looks like a bit of a Stampede Gap wind there, maybe some of the Gorge Gap winds. Nothing like what we get in the big ones in the winter time, but you'll notice it out there. It'll be breezy. And then you can see the next system start to arrive as we go through the day Saturday. And take a look here, this big wind shift that's going to occur. Saturday morning, you're dealing with these east and southeast winds here, for example, across a lot of the Seattle Metro, I-5 corridor. And then you can see this big switch to the southwest winds as the marine layer just comes roaring in here as we go through Saturday afternoon. It's going to really cool us off dramatically. And we'll take a look at some of those temperatures here. But it's a pretty interesting weather setup here. It's one of my favorites, the marine layer here. It really can cool us off. And it's very nice, especially on the very hot days in the summertime where you can drop the temperatures by 20 degrees or more over just a few hour period. Now taking a look at the apparent temperatures. So again, the North American model, pretty chilly out there this morning, walking around a little bit here. And then you can see we do warm up today. Pretty nice day out there for many locations, even down in southwest Oregon, kind of the winters there. But you can see 60s going up all the way to southwest BC. Then we go through tonight, and not quite as chilly tomorrow morning, but we're going to warm up quite nicely again tomorrow. Take a look at that. Some mid 60s for Vancouver, some 70s showing up for western Oregon. And then we go through Saturday. So look at this. We warm up quite nicely. I mean, look at by the time we get towards, what is this? We're looking at 1, 2, 3. We're looking at about 2 o'clock here for Seattle. We're looking at some 70s, but look at the marine layer just absolutely marching in here and really cooling us down by the time we get towards 5 p.m. So this is going to be really interesting watching this roll in here as well. And I know that it doesn't look like there's any thunderstorm threat according to the models, but I always kind of keep that in the back of my mind. Sometimes these marine layers can kick off a couple unexpected thunderstorms. So I'll be watching that closely here as well. But take a look at that 70 degrees just really plummeting over the next couple hours. And you can see how it affects western Oregon here as well. So fun things to look at there on Saturday. Now, if we take a look here, I've been pushing this weather station for almost a year now, and it's quite nice. They've been running well at my house. And, it's all solar powered, and it has a nice widget there on your smartphone app, and it stores all the data for you in the cloud. So highly recommended. Click on that link down below to save 10% off if you want one. Now, taking a look at the European. So this is what's going on. This one might kick off a few showers as we go through the day today. More on that here in a moment. Then we build this ridge here as we go through today, tomorrow, and then as we go on through Saturday, you'll see that system quickly approaching. There's that marine push here, going to make some precipitation as that storm system shoots through here. Another ridge, kind of transient ridge, as we bring another trough potentially as we go out towards next week. And we'll be watching that one as we go day by day. And thunderstorm outlook here, I would have probably left this for some marginal risk, not marginal, but general thunderstorm risk here across eastern Washington, Idaho, and Montana today. And I'll show you that here right now. So this is the high resolution rapid refresh as of this morning. If I put this into motion, you can see that shower activity as we go through this afternoon. You cannot rule out a lightning strike with some of this activity across the Rockies of BC here into northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, and western Montana. So heads up for that if you are out and about. And as we scroll on ahead here, you'll see at the very end of the run, our next system start to approach as we go through Saturday morning. That's that next storm system. It's going to bring that marine push and really start to drop our temperatures off after a very warm day, probably Friday and Saturday, at least relatively speaking. Now taking a look at lightning flash density potential. So this is for today. That's why I kind of highlighted that thunderstorm risk might be out there today. So again, heads up for that. Now taking a look at total precipitation in inches. This is a North American model, and you can see some of that shower activity kicking off here. Maybe a shower or two across the Cascades, and not dropping much precipitation at all. And then you see as we go through the day Saturday, some of that precipitation starts to reach the Oregon coast as we go through just into the early afternoon hours here. Reaches the Washington coast here as we go through the afternoon hours, and eventually that precipitation will start to be pushing inland here as we go on in through Saturday night. Taking a look at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right, you can see the shower activity today here, and maybe a shower on the Cascades there, eastern Washington, Idaho, Montana, and then we wait for that next storm system, and you can see the timing of it pretty good between the GFS and the European as that precipitation starts to impact the coast on Saturday afternoon, then pushes inland as we go on in through Saturday night here, and then we start to dry out a bit again here, and then we wait for the potential next system as we go on in through next week. And you can see the temperatures here for Seattle as we go through to today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Check it out. We might top out on 70 before we get that marine push, and the temperatures drop way back down here as we go through Sunday. And this is the GFS. You can kind of see the crash on Sunday and Monday, then maybe the bounce back, and then another trough coming in here. So kind of a roller coaster ride of springtime here. Pretty typical stuff. Here's Portland. You can see the crash back down here as we go through Sunday, then the bounce back, and then maybe that next trough as well. Here's Boise. You can see the roller coaster going on here also. Here's Spokane, something similar as well. And if we look at the Seattle Metro here, I like to show this one because it shows the red line. This is the average temperature for this time of year. And you can see as we go on in through Saturday, nice warm temperatures, and we drop it back down here towards normal, and then a little bit of a roller coaster thereafter. Newport, Oregon, you can see a pretty warm day coming up here Friday. Then we start to get that marine push at some point on Saturday. So it's going to kind of restrict some of the high temperatures you get on the Oregon coast. Here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So kind of near normal right along the coastal areas here, but as the further you get inland, maybe some above average signal. Again, take that with a grain of salt as always. I just like to kind of show these as to what may be coming. And you can see the southwest kind of highlighted there. 8 to 14 day, not telling us too much here. We'll just break it down day by day as always. But yeah, this is our next system out over the Pacific Ocean here. But definitely enjoy today, tomorrow, and much of Saturday. It's going to be quite nice here across Pacific Northwest. So get out there, get your sunglasses out, and maybe put your shorts on or whatnot. But anyway, yeah, so we will do this again tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.